This is Oregon Sunstone. The majority of Oregon Sunstone is either clear or champagne colored, which I've cut before, but Oregon Sunstone also comes in many other colors, including red, like this piece of rough, pale yellow, green, blue-green or teal, orange, and even multicolored. There have been several Oregon Sunstones discovered that were purple, but those are rare. And some Oregon Sunstone is bicolored, some even tricolored, and some color change Oregon Sunstone has been found. Some pieces of Oregon Sunstone have schiller. Other pieces like this one don't. Schiller refers to particles suspended in the gemstone. In this case of Oregon Sunstone, it's copper that is suspended in the gemstone rough. Sunstone or feldspar are found in many regions of the world, including Tanzania and India. But Oregon Sunstone, to me, is in a class of its own. One of the major differences is that the schiller in some sunstones found in other places, other than Oregon, are caused by hematite particles in the sunstone. But in Oregon, it's caused by copper particles, which makes the Oregon Sunstone unique. Another great thing about Oregon Sunstone is that there's generally no treatments being applied to any of the sunstone. It's all natural. From experience, I know that cerium oxide provides an excellent polish for sunstone. Sunstone has perfect cleavage and is somewhat brittle, so I don't use a really aggressive lap to preform sunstone. If possible, I try to start with nothing more aggressive than a 600 grit lap. The sunstone does have a tendency to chip, so I make sure to go through each cutting step thoroughly, and I make sure to spend time pre-polishing before going to final polish. And even though sunstone has perfect cleavage, like I mentioned earlier, I don't orient the rough based on cleavage like I would topaz. I orient sunstone based on color, always. As far as cutting for the color, the consensus seems to be to orient the stone so that the color will be in the center of the finished gemstone, slightly below the girdle, in the pavilion part. I picked up this piece of sunstone at the annual Tucson show 2 years ago. There were a handful of Oregon miners in town, and if I recall correctly, they were mostly centered around the 21st Street tent or one of the other tent shows along that road. The miners were all great to talk to, and they all seemed like a great group of folks. If the Tucson show is up and running next year, and I expect it will be, I do plan to pick up some more sunstone. I just don't think I'll find any purple sunstone. This is a beautiful red piece of rough that looks to me like it fits a square design. So I'll use one of my favorite square designs called Lighthouse, which was created by the late Jeff Graham. He released this design into the public domain, giving it to all cutters to freely use as his Christmas present to the community back in the year 2000. I made a video showing you how you can go back in time in the internet and find all of the approximately 24 of Jeff's designs that he released into the public domain. And here's a link to that video. Jeff created many designs, and most of them you need to purchase one of his many books on gem designs to use those designs, but this one is free. I've started to learn Gem Cut Studio, which is a computer application where you can design and work with gem cutting designs, and I did recreate Lighthouse in a GCS format and added it to my growing library of GCS formatted gem cutting designs. After working with GCS for a short period of time, it was simple to recreate this design into GCS. And I will be routinely publishing tutorials on my journey to learn about GCS, and I hope you enjoy them. By using GCS, I saw that the Lighthouse design was already pretty well optimized for Oregon Sunstone, even though it was made for a refractive index of quartz. So I didn't need to tweak any of the angles. And by using the rendering feature of Gem Cut Studio, I came up with this computer rendering of how my finished red-orange sunstone should look when I finish cutting it. Let's see how close our final gemstone is to this rendering. If I cut this design correctly, this is how it should look from the top, the side, and the bottom. Okay, so let's see if our refractol will help us look into our Oregon Sunstone. Refractol has the same refractive index about as quartz, which is not the same as our sunstone, but it might help. So, oh yeah, see right through it. So this piece is internally flawless. That'll work. I made a complete video on how to use the transfer fixture to set your gemstone into a dop. So I won't cover dopping the stone here. Here is the clickable link to that video if you have any questions on how to use a transfer fixture or to dop your stone. Okay, for the lighthouse design, we want the 96 index is going to be kind of one of the corners of our square. So we want to orient it not this way, but so that a corner is facing down for our 96 index. Now the Ultratech has a keyed facet at 45-degree cut angle, so you can use the keyed feature and it'll go in one way, but you can simply override the key by pulling it out a little bit, and then you can set your stone at any angle you want. So just eyeball it so that the point is going down, one of the corners is going down at 96, at the 96 tooth index. Then we just lock our set screw and we're ready to start cutting. And I'm going to start with this Sunstone. I'm going to start with just a 600 grit topper. It cuts fairly easy and it's pretty well preformed, so I'll go straight to the 600 topper. Okay, I finished polishing the pavilion, or the bottom half of our Oregon Sunstone, so now I'll transfer the stone and work on the upper half of our lighthouse design. Okay, so after transferring our Oregon Sunstone to cut the upper half of the crown, we set to align it, we set the angle at 90 degrees. And in this case, the girdle, the four sides of our stone were cut at the 12, 36, 60, and 84 index teeth. So we look for one of those four flat spots, in this case 12, you could use any of them. And you want to put your stone into the spindle so that it's flat, one of the four sides at the 12 tooth. Okay, so then you just run it down onto your flat piece of metal, and this is a precision piece of metal, and you make sure that your stone sets just right on that. Then when you raise up your stone, you'll see it break all along the bottom there at the same exact angles, not like, you know, like one side up and one side still touching. That would be out of alignment. So you want it so it's just in alignment. And then you use the Allen wrench and set your set screw in, and you're ready to cut the upper half of the stone. Your stone is aligned from the top and the bottom. Okay, I used the Creamway lap from Gear Loose with cerium oxide in a spray bottle, and finished polishing up our lighthouse. So now I'll soak it in acetone and we'll be able to take it off the dop. There's no table on this stone. When you cut it larger, Jeff Graham, the designer, recommends you cut a table, but this one's about just over 8 millimeters, and I don't think I need a table, so I think I'm not gonna do it. But if it was much larger, I would cut a table. Let's see what it looks like when we get it off the acetone. Today, I cut a beautiful red Oregon Sunstone into the lighthouse design. I started with the 600 grit lap and ended up polishing with the Creamway lap and cerium oxide. Oregon Sunstone cuts and polishes easily, so please give it a try. As far as the lighthouse design goes, it is a simple design that cutters of all skill levels would enjoy cutting. It's one of my favorites, and I've now added it to my growing library of gem cut designs in my Gem Cut Studio application. Give cutting an Oregon Sunstone a try and let me know how it turns out. And as always, happy faceting, everyone.